If you're moving to Tulsa from out of state and you are buying your first home, the process is different than you think, and it's different than what any other generic YouTube video is going to tell you, because the path from where you are right now to holding the keys to a house in Tulsa depends on a handful of specific decisions most first-time buyers don't even know that they're making. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the entire process step by step, exactly the way that I walk my out-of-state clients through it, including the one decision that almost every first-time buyer gets wrong and does not realize until closing day. By the way, my name is Michael. I'm a Tulsa Realtor, and a big part of what I do is I help out-of-state buyers make smart moves into the city. Texas, California, Colorado, Illinois, and all over the country. Some put down 3%, some put down 25%. Some fly in for a weekend and write an offer. Some do the whole thing virtually and never set foot here until the inspection. There's no single correct way to do this, and anyone telling you that there has not actually worked with enough buyers to know better. So this video is the honest version, the steps that actually matter in the order that actually matters, with the real decision points called out so you can make them with your eyes open. Let's get into it. Step 1 is talk to a lender before any agent, and talk to a Tulsa area lender, not a national one. Here's how it plays out. Most first-time buyers start on Zillow, they find a house they love, then they try to figure out financing. That is backwards, and it's the reason so many first-time buyers end up heartbroken when the house they fell in love with was never actually in their budget. The correct first move is a pre-approval conversation with the lender. That conversation tells you what you can actually afford, what programs you qualify for, and what your real monthly payment is going to look like, including taxes, insurance, and any private mortgage insurance on top of the base mortgage. Here's the part most videos skip. You want to talk to a local Tulsa area lender, not a national lender. There are two reasons. One, local lenders know Oklahoma closing costs, Oklahoma property tax rates, and Oklahoma insurance markets, which means the pre-approval number they give you is actually accurate. Number two is when you're competing against other offers in a Tulsa neighborhood, listing agents look at who the lender is. An offer backed by a local lender they've closed with before gets taken way more seriously than an offer backed by a faceless 1-800 number. That is a real advantage in a competitive situation. And when you reach out to me, the first thing I do is introduce to you 2 or 3 local lenders that I trust. You talk to them, you pick who you connect with, and we go from there. Step number 2, figure out your down payment strategy, because this is a decision that changes everything. Here's what I tell every first-time buyer who asks me how much they need to put down. It depends on you, and anyone who gives you a flat number without knowing your situation is telling you what they want to be true, not what actually is. Some first-time buyers put 3 to 3.5% down using FHA loan. This works great for buyers with limited savings and lower debt. Some put 5% on a conventional loan. Some put 10, 15, or 20% because they sold a house in a high-cost state and rolled over the equity into Tulsa, where their dollar, it goes a lot further. You guys have to understand that the right number depends on 3 things: how much cash you have on hand right now, what your monthly payment comfort level is, and what you need to keep in reserves after closing so you're not completely emptied out the day that you move in. A lower down payment gets you into a house faster but raises your monthly payment and usually adds mortgage insurance. A higher down payment lowers your monthly but eats your reserves. There's no universally correct answer. There's only the correct answer for your specific situation, which is exactly why step 1 is a real lender conversation, because that is going to be the person who helps you run those numbers out. Guys, quick question before we keep going. Which state are you watching this from right now? Drop it in the comments. I'm genuinely curious where people are tuning in from. And if you're further along than just curious and you're actually planning this move, drop the word buyer next to your state so I know who to prioritize when I'm answering the comments this week. All right, let's get back into it. Step 3 is pick your agent before your house is, and pick one who actually works with out-of-state buyers. Every agent will tell you that they're great with first-time buyers. Most of them are not great with out-of-state buyers, which is a completely different situation. See, out-of-state buyers have specific needs. You need someone who can FaceTime you through a walkthrough and actually notice what matters, not just pan the camera around the living room. You need someone who knows which neighborhoods have hidden problems most listings won't tell you about. You need someone who can coordinate inspections, appraisals, and closing while you are living 1,500 miles away. And you need someone who will tell you when a house is wrong for you, even when it means losing the commission on that deal. And that last one is the whole game. The difference between an agent who is actually on your side and an agent who's just trying to close the transaction comes down to one thing. Are they willing to tell you the truth when truth costs them money? Because it will. Every serious buyer runs into at least one house that looks great on paper and is wrong for them in ways they cannot see from out of state. That is the moment your agent either protects you or lets you walk into a mistake. So when you're talking to agents for a Tulsa move, don't ask them how many homes they've sold. Ask them this instead. Tell me about a time you told a buyer not to buy a house. The answer to that question tells you literally everything you need to know about who they actually work for, you or the commission check. Step 4 is figure out how you're going to tour the homes, because this is the part that trips most out-of-state buyers up. There are basically 3 paths my out-of-state clients take, and the right one, again, for you depends on your timeline, your budget, and how much you trust your agent. Path 1 is the weekend trip. You fly in Friday, you tour 6 to 10 houses Saturday and Sunday, you write an offer before you leave. This works when you're decisive and when the market is moving fast enough that waiting costs you opportunities. Path number 2 is the multi-trip approach. You fly in once to get your feel for the city and narrow down the neighborhoods. Then you fly back with a few weeks later to tour actual listings. This works when you have time and when you want to be sure before you commit. And path 3 is fully virtual. You never fly until the inspection. I walk the houses for you on FaceTime. I send you detailed video walkthroughs of literally every property, including the stuff that you cannot see in listing photos, like the neighbors, the street at 5 p.m., and the parts of the house that have been conveniently cropped out. This works when you trust your agent, when your timeline is tight, and when you're moving under some kind of work pressure. And by the way, none of these is better than the others. They are different paths for different buyers. The mistake is doing one when the other would have fit you better, and the only way to know which is right is a real conversation before you commit to any of them. Step 5, offer, inspection, appraisal, and closing. This is where out-of-state buyers lose the most money, and here is what to watch out for. So once your offer is accepted, you have 3 things happening in parallel: inspection, appraisal, and underwriting. Most first-time buyers think the hard part is over. It is not. The hard part is just starting. So inspections is your chance to find out what actually is wrong with the house. In Tulsa, specific things to watch for are foundation issues. This is clay soil country and foundations move. Roof age, we have hail damage, it's a real thing, and HVAC systems that are way past their lifespan. A good inspector will flag all of it. A cheap inspector will miss half of it, and you will pay for those misses later. The appraisal process is the lender confirming the house is actually worth what you agreed to pay. In a market where relocating buyers are pushing prices up, appraisals sometimes come in lower than the contract price. When that happens, you have 3 options: renegotiate with the seller, bring extra cash to closing to cover the gap, or just simply walk. Which one is right depends on the house, the seller, and your situation. This is again where having an agent who actually represents you matters. Then closing is the easiest part if everything else went right. If you're out of state, you can usually close remotely with a mobile notary and wire transfer. You don't have to fly in for closing unless you want to, but you have to line up wire instructions carefully, because wire fraud is a real problem in real estate right now, and losing a down payment to a fraudulent email is the single most preventable disaster in this industry. So here's the bottom line: buying your first home in Tulsa from out of state is absolutely doable, but the path from where you are right now to the keys in your hand has a lot of decision points, and making the right one at each point depends on your specific situations, not a generic checklist. If you're planning this move and you want a real conversation about what that path looks like for you, everything you need is in the description below. My contact information is there, and if you'd rather skip straight to a call, my Calendly link is right there too. Book a time and we'll map it out together. Please do me a favor and subscribe to the channel and share this with anyone that you know who's planning a move to Tulsa. And remember, whatever you decide, I'm in your corner. I'll see you guys in the next one.